What a first performance from Guy. I mean, I feel like we didn't fully know what to expect. Like, we had a good gauge on him from text-based conversation, but you never know what someone's going to do under the bright lights. Like, you sign a 5-star recruit, and then you get to the exhibition game, and you're kind of like, well, he's going to play 30 minutes. Let's see what happens. And then some guys are like, Jet Howard, 27 points. And then some guys are like, he's going to need a redshirt year. That was a big-time performance.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? Someone let him slip through the cracks. Someone let him that's like the oddest. That's like the recruit that's in state, playing down the street from the arena, and somehow you don't go out and notice him, and he slips through the cracks, and he goes to some other school like 5 states away and cooks in another conference. Someone let him slip through the cracks, and I'm blessed that he did, because the kid's special. And also, on his first appearance, he solidified himself as having the deepest voice on sleepers.
Except for that one day I had a raspy voice.
Yeah, that slapped that day.
I don't know what happened that day. Yeah, Guy 100% sent like 11 emails out to people. Like, I guarantee you Mark Titus has an email just like in his junk folder. And we just so happen to be the ones that respond. We feel very lucky. We're blessed by your presence, Guy. So great job. That was a great list today. Cart, we're going to move on now and talk about the Louisville Cardinals. Our boy Sky Clark, I feel so bad for him, man.
Free him.
I feel so bad for him. Louisville, on the same date of the year, October 30th, loses to a Division II opponent for the second consecutive year. This time, they lost to Kentucky Wesleyan. 71-68 was the final score. I mean, Sky was just in a battle with Borja Fernandez. Sky Clark, say what you want. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. I don't know why I'm even reading stats. Louisville lost to Kentucky Wesleyan. That's the story here. And then Kenny Payne hit the podium and said, we're not going to win games like this with talent.
These are games that you should win with talent. Yes? No? I mean, that's just the fact that they lost to Kentucky Wesleyan at home, and then that's not even the worst thing that happened, because you proceed to go to the podium and put on a generational stinker on the mic. Like, that's just bad vibes, KP. And like, I think a month or so ago, I think I made the mistake of saying like Louisville's not going to be as bad as people think. Not saying they're going to be good, but they're not going to be as bad as people think. I was generationally wrong. Like, old takes exposed. This is bad. It's 2 straight years. I just don't know how a Louisville, whatever you want to say it, fan, can put up with this. Like, what Russ Smith and Peyton Siva didn't die for this. Gorgie Dang, Wayne Blackshear, Luke Hancock, they didn't die for this, man. They didn't walk through those doors and pave the way for this to happen.
Don't you ever say that name on my podcast again. Ever.
What?
Don't you ever say the LH word ever again on this show. I don't think it's ever been said. I don't think you've ever said it. Do not ever say those words again on this show. That's a warning. It's the final one I will ever give you. Do you think, is this retribution? Is this like their payment for Rick Pitino's whole thing? Like, is this karma?
It's got to be at this point. That's the only plausible reason I could think that this would happen.
It's
2
gone
years in a row at the crib.
Yeah, it's gone past the point of like just bad basketball. Now it's like mind-numbingly, how is this happening? That's the thing that is frustrating for me, is because, like, okay, one horrible year from hell is a thing. That's fine. That happens. It's not fine. Trust me. Like, I'm not justifying how bad Louisville was last year. I think they should have been better, but it's the transfer portal era, right? Like, if you have any competency at all and are the head coach of a program that is as name brand recognition strong as Louisville is, you fix this in an off season. And I'm not even saying like you become a Final Four contender, but you have to go from how bad Louisville was last year to a real team with a real pulse, with new players in that room that show signs of life and at least are competitive in ACC play. And I know we're not to ACC play yet, but this has to be like did you watch much of these games? Because if you watch the games at all, and I watched parts of both live, and then I went back and watched the Matthew Love ball, it's like effort stuff. Like it straight up is not just like, oh, shots aren't going in. It's that these pretty talented players are giving horrendous effort. The body language is horrendous. There's no communication. They don't play like a cohesive unit. It is the ugliest high major basketball that I have ever seen since last year's Louisville team.
Yeah. No, it is. And like you look at the Ken Palm teams or any teams in the metrics that are like in the 350 levels, those teams might not have talent. And yes, they might play some bad basketball. But my word, whatever Louisville did in that game against Kentucky Wesleyan, that's some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. Like truly some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. And then your coach gets to the podium and then does that. It's just like, I don't know how much longer people can put up with that, to be honest with you. There's no way this gets better, is there? Like,
so I was going to
that's
ask
not gonna
you,
happen.
if you're the Louisville AD, when's he fired by?
Shit. I'm built different. Last night,
I'm going to say the moment that I heard him say, we don't win games like this with talent, that's when I would have cut the cord. If I'm the Louisville AD, I'm like, no, you beat Division II teams with talent. You're Louisville.
yeah.
like
that. That's the other thing. How do I mean, you said it in the transfer portal era. You're telling me out of all the players in the transfer portal and all the players in high school, but you're still Louisville, all right? Like that carries a bit of name recognition, brand recognition to it. You can't get players there. You can't get one player there, not one, to make a dip. Like, come on, man. It's just
Sky and Dennis Evans.
Yeah, but like Dennis Evans, I didn't even notice him out there yesterday.
Yeah, 0 shot attempts from their starting center. Actually, I don't know if he started. He was on the court for not a ton of time, 15 minutes, I think. But yeah, I don't think this is getting better, right? Like, it's certainly not gonna like be a galvanizing moment for this team after the way last year went and the way this year has started. Like, have you? Obviously, you've played competitive basketball way higher than I ever have. Like, have you ever been a part of like a team that just knows it's going nowhere? Like, is it hard?
Yeah. Yeah. My sophomore year, it was just like wheels imploding, everything falling apart. And part of that was like the older guys on the team let it fall apart. So like as my sophomore year, once I saw the older guys fall apart, like I tried to pick up the pieces and some other guys tried to pick up the pieces. But once that started to fall apart, everything just started to fall apart. Guys quit. Guys left the team. Guys blatantly didn't care. Coach couldn't get through to those guys. It was a hellish year just in my life in general. Like in my 30 years of life, that was the worst year of my life. Just like it was god awful. So I don't know how you write this shit. Free Sky Clark, I think he'll be special on Michigan next year once Doug transfers after a really good season. But yeah, I don't know how you fix this, to be honest. And I don't know, like, if Kenny Payne has to be trying to fix this, right? Like, what's going on in practice?
I don't know, man. Like, I can't tell. He might just be checked out. Like, isn't there a chance he's just like, yeah, I'm checked out. This
Just
is
cashing checks.
I mean, that press conference was so bad. I don't know how, if you're a coach who intends on staying at your job, I don't know how you deliver the performance he did last night. Like, and he's had other moments. Like he called the red and white scrimmage, the blue and white scrimmage, as if it was Kentucky. Last night, he exclaimed at the post game he needed more rebounds from a player who didn't play in the game. Like that was a real thing that happened.
Every press conference that I've seen of his recently strikes me as like an SNL skit if they're trying to like make a parody of a coach who doesn't care about his basketball team or no basketball.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the sad part. He's not even relevant enough for SNL to make fun of this. Like it's this bad, but like they would never do that because they're literally that irrelevant, which is crazy. It's Louisville. They should never be this irrelevant. All right. Well, sad. This was a question somebody asked us already, but do you have an over under for when you think Kenny Payne is no longer the Louisville coach?
I don't think he's the coach by the end of November.
Okay. I still think he gets through the season. I don't know how, but I think he gets through the season and then is fired immediately the day after.
If he gets through, that's one of the greatest accomplishments in his coaching career.
Truly, honestly, everything changes in my mind if Kenny just gets to April with a job still. Impressive stuff.